whatever restrictions were imposed, artists found ways to subvert those limitations. Secrets and subversive ideas could be hidden in plain sight. Coded messages turned into symbols for those with a keen eye and mind. Orwell's 1984 notes that by reducing vocabulary, you can reduce people's capacity to think for themselves. What he doesn't mention is that by dumbing down visual literacy, a similar effect can be had on our ability to be intuitive. Magic is the learned ability to see that which hovers just in and just outside our peripheral vision. An artist's job is to capture the unseen. They are alchemists simply because, once they are immersed in a painting, the boundary between the artist and their art disappears. Time stands still, and the present becomes eternal. In my experience, when art is restricted and pigeonholed, it wilts. All through my college years, we were heavily encouraged to narrow our style and subject matter, to make our work recognizable, brandable. But I found that ethos suffocating. I did not want one head and one mouth. I wanted tongues for as many voices as there were inside me. I began searching for a means of expression that was inclusive, not exclusive. For me, the marriage of word and image opened the door to a landscape that allowed symbol and sign to wander in freedom. Whether for the witnesses or the creators, art has always been about the irrepressible spirit of our imagination. It is paramount that we expand our visual vocabulary, not shrink it. We must open ourselves up to see, consider, explore, and create outside of the straight lines, hard rules, and white-walled boxes. Once we recognize the extraordinary power of our imagination and our art, magic will be no more than a fingertip away. I hope you take up this book's encouragement to tear down the wall the old men built when they first decided to keep art and magic from coming together. Nick Bantock, British Columbia, Canada, is the author and artist of the New York Times best-selling Griffin and Sabine series. He has authored over 30 books, 11 of which have appeared on bestseller lists. His works have been translated into 15 languages, and over 5 million have been sold worldwide. Introduction. I've come to believe that we suffer from a number of rifts within ourselves. There are, no doubt, multiple reasons for our sense of alienation, and yet there is one that repeatedly preoccupies me. I tried to voice my nagging sense that we have almost lost the image as a direct means of thought. Nick Bantock in The Artful Dodger. I am going to share with you a secret. When I start a book, the introduction is technically the first thing I write, but it's also the very last thing I write. There's the initial idea of the book that happens when I conceive it, and then there's what happens after it spews forth from my head, Athena style. Each book ends up being both what I had hoped it would be and something I never could have imagined. I love the process and the revelations it brings. I find the same is true for my art. There is the idea in my head, and then there's what that idea becomes once it has been brought forth into the world through my own visual alchemy. In modern society, we tend to think the creative process goes like this. 1. Have an idea. 2. Make that idea happen somehow. 3. The end result is a carbon copy of that idea in your head. So it terrifies the bejesus out of most of us when step 3 looks nothing like step 1. We despair, thinking we have failed, and try to hide the evidence where no one will find it. We rarely stop to consider, what if that end result is actually so much better